Welcome to our homestead and welcome inside of our shop. As you can see behind us, we've got a garage door and it is not insulated. Today I am going to show you the easiest, fastest, best way to insulate any garage door. Let's talk about it. So friends, I have an insulated barn slash shop and it is conditioned space. I have an EG4 mini split in here, and that is because I cure and dry potatoes and onions, and I keep other food items in here. But obviously the weak link to that is this door. Every other wall in here is insulated. So what I was doing was actually taking a piece of insulation like this and just resting it against the door. And actually that did help slightly. But that is not the best way to do it, obviously. So let me show you what is. Okay, there are many different ways to insulate a garage door, and there are many different materials that you could use to do it. But at a certain point, there's a law of diminishing returns. And what I mean by that is, if it's expensive and difficult to do, and it only gains you a little bit more R value, then is it worth doing? I say it's not. You have to weigh cost, ease of installation, and performance equally. Now, there have been several videos out there to show you all the different ways on how to do this. And one of them broke down cost for all the different methods. I'm going to do an update on what those costs are in today's world. Now, I have weighed all those costs, and there is certainly one that comes out on top. And I will even add a little extra to it, which will slightly bump up the cost, but it's going to make for a really tight and perfect seal. Let's talk about the door really quick and how heat transfers through it. So there are three ways that heat is affecting this door and the space inside here. One is radiation, two is conduction, and three is convection. So outside we've got sun radiation, which is shining on this and heating up the metal. That metal is conducting the heat, and then through convection, letting it out into the air in here in my shop. Now, we will never 100% be able to stop that conduction to convection because these metal pieces will not be insulated and they touch the outside of the door. It's just like a 2x4 in your home. That area will never be able to be insulated, and the heat conduction through it is much less than your insulated walls. And that's why I do a lot of double exterior walls where it breaks that heat transmission. But back to the door. Okay, before I show you how to best install the best material behind me, I'm going to talk about costs for all of these. If you don't care and you want to jump ahead to the install, go ahead. Okay, let me list off these materials. This one right down here is 1-inch Foamular 150 NGX by Owens Corning. It is extruded polystyrene. Right above it, we've got the 1.5-inch version of it. Up here, I've got some packing foam that I've saved from something I had delivered. Right here, we've got reflective bubble wrap, and of course, right here, we've got a can of expanding foam, the great stuff. And we're about to find out if it's great or not. Okay, let me put my glasses on, head to my notes. We're gonna talk about cost per square foot. Now, something else I'm going to mention also is weight, because weight matters on a garage door, especially for your garage door opener. So having something light is important. Okay, this will give you an R value of 2. The can cost me $4.50 and it will cover 5 square feet. And that is roughly the size of one of these panels. So for this, we are a little under $1 per panel. That's pretty good. And this is an 8-foot by 8-foot door, so 64 square feet. So it probably cost me about $63 to do it with the spray foam. However, this is messy and can be a pain to use. It's going to take you quite a while to spray out all of these panels, and if you ever want to get it off, that's a whole nother story. Now, some of this foam will expand more to give you more than an R value of 2, but it's going to be very uneven across the door. And if I use this, it's going to add about 24 pounds to this entire door. And you'll see, compared to the other ones, this is pretty heavy. Okay, the second one I don't have with me. I was certainly not going to buy it, and I'm not going to use it. It's expensive. And that's one of these batt insulation door kits that you can get for garage doors. This Owens Corning kit is $178 in my area at Home Depot. For the entire door, that would cost $2.78 per square foot. Now, it'll give you an R value of 8, and it is also just as heavy as the spray foam at 24 pounds for this entire door. And you and I know, if it's exposed, it can get ripped really easily. You need to mask up, you need to glove up when using it because it's fiberglass fibers. Even though it's an R value of 8, you have to look at that law of diminishing return. Is it worth it? Okay, let's move over here. Bubble wrap. This by far, I'm going to tell you, is the cheapest thing you can use. But it will give you a total R value of just 1. A 16-inch by 25-foot roll of this is only $22. And that works out to be the cheapest by far out of everything at 66 cents per square foot. So if you wanted to double this up, you'd get the same R value as the spray foam, and you'd be similar in cost. But this is way easier to install than the spray foam. Essentially, just get it into the panel and tape it down where it needs to be. Okay, let's talk about this 1.5-inch Foamular by Owens Corning. I'm going to start off by saying this is the perfect thickness for these garage door panels. The numbers on this are pretty good. It's got an R value of 7.5, so very close to that heavy batt insulation. The cost for a 4-foot by 8 sheet of this is $35. The cost per square foot of this is $1.24. However, that's if you can find it in full sheets. At my local Home Depot, they only have these small pieces. They have the 2-inch and the 1-inch in full sheets, but not this. So it's a little bit more difficult to find. But at $1.24 at a 7.5 R value, this is pretty solid. As far as weight, it's going to be about 18 pounds for this entire door. I forgot to mention the bubble wrap is only about 4 pounds for the entire door. Now you can also find the cheap white foam at Home Depot. That stuff is only about 3/4 of an inch thick. It's like this is just an example. But it actually doesn't have a very good R value, only about an R value of 2. And I didn't even price that one out, it's not the best. Now you may or may not have some packing material laying around like this. I keep all of these. This is 1.5 inches thick, and it was delivered with something I purchased. To save money, you can absolutely do this. It's going to take you some time to find all the pieces to fill the voids, if you have enough. But it's free if you keep all of it. This piece of 1-inch Foamular from Owens Corning is the best. At current prices in my area, this works out to be only 89 cents per square foot. And you get an R value of 5, and the weight on the door for it is only 12 pounds for this door. So if you weigh out all of the costs, all of the ease of installation, all of the performance, this one comes out on top. Now there is a video out there of a gentleman who did his own experiment and had an air gap between 2 pieces, had other pieces in between, and that performed for him very well. And if you want pure performance, that is the way to go. But I want all 3, cost, ease of installation, and performance all wrapped up in one, and this is the way to go. Let's put it up. Now these panels come with pre-scored lines on them for you to cut down, but they are not the size for our garage door. These are made for house construction. So we will need to measure the specific panels on our door, which might be different from your door, and cut it to size. And the absolute best way to do that is with one of these adjustable razor blades. And that way you can adjust it to cut through the entire thing at once. Now you will need a nice straight edge to be able to cut these to the correct size. And before I forget, I'll leave a link to this in the description below the video. I use this for everything around my homestead. It is a really great knife. Once I get this first panel cut out, I'm going to show you why I measured the way I measured. It's not going to be what you think. Okay, the reason I didn't cut these to the exact size of the panel is because it has these lips at the side. So this one does on this side, but it doesn't on the other. And then additionally here and up here. So in order to get our panel in there, it needs to be smaller than the actual opening. So you want as snug fit as you can possibly get. So I'm going to slide this in here, push it all the way to the side under that lip, and kind of jam it in here and move it around until I can pop it in. And it will give a little bit. But now we're going to have gaps around the entire edge of this thing. And that's where the spray foam comes in. We are going to spray around the edge of this entire thing and then put the panel in. That's going to make it one solid monolithic piece. And if we don't do this, we're just going to have a bunch of uninsulated gaps around the edges. And then our performance is going to drop quite a bit. Just do one side and the bottom. Now that you've got the panel pushed in, you can see we've got a gap here. We're gonna fill that in with our spray foam. You can see just how messy this stuff is. Well, there you go, friends. It's that easy. It's easy to trim, easy to insert these into the panels. Even though that spray foam is still a little messy, you can clean it up later with a knife. And you can insulate your entire door with an R5 value for under $1 per square foot. If you have any questions, please let me know. Now go check out this video right here, which is on our mini split and how easy it was to install here in our barn/shop. Have a beautiful, blessed day. We'll see you next time.